Principal, Mahatma Gandhi College of Arts and Science, Arts College, and respected professors of Department of Physics, staff members, officials, and the other participants. It is indeed a great pleasure to be with you all, and particularly the teaching fraternity, because I was just 25 years back, I was also part of this teaching fraternity. I was working for more than 4.5 years in Bharatdasan Government College as a part-time lecturer, and then resigned and joined NIC. So I fondly remember all my college days in Tagore Arts College, as well as in Puducherry Engineering Colleges, and then my days in Bharatdasan as lecturer. I'm also happy to see my colleague, Mr. Najib and Mr. Raji. In fact, they are the important officials in NIC who are coordinating the Mahe district and instrumental in bringing various IT initiatives of Government of Puducherry as well as Government of India. And I congratulate all the students, and I wish all the students all the very best for their future. And today the topic, the cyber attacks and the countermeasures, it is not, I feel that a topic to be discussed or to be debated across the IT fraternity. It is going to get common and it is prevalent in the society. So this particular topic should have necessary awareness among all. So many techie areas are there. Our agenda of the presentation is going to be a complete coverage on what's going around in this cyber world with respect to the cyber attacks and the countermeasures, and then what are the continuous efforts the cyber teams are doing, and as a layman or as the netizens, what are the things which we could do to protect ourselves over the net. Okay, I'll just get into the presentation. I'll share my screen. Is the presentation screen visible to all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Thank you. So let me begin with the title of the presentation. It is the different types of cyber attacks, what we find in over the net, and what are the countermeasures. So the agenda is going to be around the cyber crimes and the cyber security, and most importantly, the different cyber attacks. Cyber attacks, I hope you know that particularly after the new normal of COVID-19, we could see plenty of online classes, work from home, and many apps for various purpose in order to digitally educate, but as well as, digitally educate, digitally you work around from home, and then, but among all, you have a lot of concerns with respect to the privacy. So cyber security is becoming more and more important. All of us may be aware, though we are all in the net with our presence, either with the help of the mails, emails, or the video classes, or the various application through which we work from home. But there is a team or there is a complete network. We call it as darknet, DARK, darknet, who continuously work on cyber attacks. Okay. So how to let us be aware of what's going around with respect to the cyber crimes, and then how we are getting secured through cyber. But still, attacks are happening. It is because of our ignorance on certain basic IT features, as well as the vulnerability which is happening in the information technology. Now let me give a definition for a layman. What are the cyber crimes? Cyber crimes are nothing but unlawful acts where the computer is either a tool or the target or both. That means crimes where computer is the target of the crime, or crimes where computer is a tool of the crime, and then crimes where a computer is incidental to the commission of the crime. So it indirectly what it conveys is your computer can be part of the cyber crime when it is getting attacked, or a server where all your financial transactions are happening, it may be attacked. So whatever it is, a computer assisted crime is going to be a mere tool and not specific to a computer. For example, any financial fraud or denial of service to get accomplished with a particular financial transactions. And then computer as a target crimes, criminal activities particularly focused on the servers of banks, servers of some organizations, servers of some websites. We are seeing plenty of such news in our day-to-day newspapers. And then how the data is stolen. So here, computer as the target crimes, and then computers incidental to the crimes. These are the crimes where computer is related to incidental to the crime, and it could occur without the use of computers, using the network, using the various devices. Okay. So if cyber attacks, attacks are prevalent, then where is the cyber security? Cyber security, it consists of technologies again, processes and controls which are designed to protect the systems, networks, programs, devices, and data from cyber attacks. Even in our mobile phones, when we start using the data, we get protected with the help of locking the screen, using two-factor authentication, like using the password or biometric or facial recognition, whatever it is available in our mobile app, and then allowing the mobile app to do the financial transaction or sending mails. Okay, so we require some technologies, processes, controls, which are designed to protect the systems, networks, predominantly the networks and devices, to be protected from the cyber attacks. So with the basic introduction about the cyber crime and the cyber security, let us get into the definition of the attacks. What is an attack? An attack is any attempt to destroy or expose, alter, disable, steal, or gain unauthorized access, or to make unauthorized use of an asset. So all these are, in a generic way, we call it as cyber attack. Without proper security measures and controls in place, our data obviously might be subjected to an attack. There are two kinds of attacks. One is the active attack, what we call it as it's a network exploitation, which a hacker attempts to change the data, to destroy the data, to alter the data, to delete the data. We commonly call it as changes to the data, and our data en route to the target. These are classified as the active attacks. Then what is a passive attack? Passive attack is a network attack in which your system or the applications what you are running in a server, which is another system, getting monitored or sometimes scanned for open ports and vulnerabilities. The purpose is solely to gain information about the target, okay, and particularly targeted for the changing the data. Now, let us see some of the popular cyber attacks. The names, the terminologies may be new to most of us, but these are the prevalent cyber attacks. One, anyone should take care at the time of deployment of any web sites or web application. First one is the brute force. Brute force is the attack which is mainly targeted on the passwords. Many people, particularly emails, they give a very simple passwords which can be referred from a dictionary, very simple word, okay, or it can be a paraphrase, or it can be very much related to their home or any object which is remembered by their, say for their car number or daughter's date of birth, name of the children, like that. These are the things which could be easily attacked because like us, the dictionary, hackers normally maintain a dictionary for referring certain objects, words, names, everything. Like that, brute force attacks try to attack many passwords which are commonly used. And then cross-site scripting. What is this cross-site scripting? Attackers inserts malicious code there. Wherever we refer code, that code is nothing but a small piece of program which is inserted on our original program. The hacker, what they will do is, if your source code or if your program is very much vulnerable in your hosted website, they will take the program, attack the program, and try to put their malicious code into that, so that your website can be redirected to their website. So this is called cross-site scripting. Like that, we also have a type of attack called session hijacking, hacking someone's active session and trying to exploit. So this is another cyber attack where people will be diverted to another website. Then cross-site request forgery, forcing a victim to send one HTTP request to a target destination. HTTP stands for a protocol. Normally, computer programs work under a set of protocols. Protocols means set of procedures. So hypertext transfer protocol is the protocol used in all our browsers to access a website. So cross-site request forgery, it makes the victim, that is the browser, the person who works on the net, he will be forced as a victim to send a request to the target destination. That means his password will be taken up, or his account number will be taken, or his secret code with respect to some important document will be taken. So all these can be possible with the help of this cross-site request forgery. And then SQL injection attack, SQLI. It is mainly predominant in all database related application. You have to run a query over a database to fetch a desired result. But if your query sentence in the program or the line in which you have written the program to fetch the data is vulnerable, people will inject their code into that and try to destroy the database and its contents. So SQL injection attack is another very popular attack found in the cyber attacks. Dictionary attacks, trying all dictionary words to identify what is your password, what is your reference number and all. And then buffer overflow is another common cyber attack which corrupts the data value which is there. I hope you know that nowadays why we are giving so much importance to the data. In those days, people feel gold is the most precious one. Then people were talking about petroleum. Petroleum has to be the most precious one. Now in the cyber world, more than petroleum and gold, data becomes very much valuable. So we require a lot of protection, a lot of technologies which is required to protect this valuable data which is there spread across the banks, spread across the institutions, spread across the websites. So the data is becoming more and more valuable. In fact, this data is driving many of the oil wells, many of the railway network, many of the power network, all the substations are now modernized. It had been automated. So data becomes more and more valuable. We start depending on the data. Now let us see some of the common attacks. I've given some of the few attacks which are prevalent in the server part. But apart from that, there are some common attacks in the cyber security. Let us see one by one a brief on that part. These are the terminologies mostly used after comparing with our day-to-day life. For example, we are two friends, or we have two people in an organization. We want to exchange some confident information or confidential details. Imagine that if there is a person in the middle and try to attack and secretly relays it to somebody, then we call that person as a man in the middle, isn't it? Same way, there is an attack, what we call it as man in the middle, also called as MITM. It is an attack where attacker secretly relays and alters the communication between two parties who believe they are directly communicating with each other. Nobody knows. When I am sitting with my computer and another person who is sitting in the other side of the computer, we are two employees, or we are the two members who wants to exchange certain information. Without our knowledge, there will be a program or a network which secretly alter our communication. So this kind of attack is what we call it as man in the middle. So here, what is the countermeasure? Countermeasure involves digital signature. So mere document or mere text is not secured. You have to digitally sign. Digital signature is a kind of ecosystem which allows you to sign electronically over a document. Now there are two kinds of signature which is coming. What we call it as is DSC, with the help of a digital certificate. A dongle will be provided to you through which you will be signing a document. But the latest is e-sign. Already we started e-signing ration cards in Puducherry. E-signing income tax. Now we are going to issue trade license e-signed. What is the advantage of e-sign? It is an authentication by a department saying that this particular document is a genuine one and it is from a trusted party. Okay, so that kind of countermeasure can be taken by when we are exchanging the message from one server to another client. And then mutual authentication. I should send a document. Somebody should acknowledge that the document is intact and correct. Okay, so this kind of countermeasures normally taken for the man in the middle. Then another most prevalent attack is the DOS attack. DOS is nothing but denial of service attack. It is a cyber attack where perpetrator seeks to make a machine or network resource unavailable. How can I understand this? Very simple. You open a shop in a busy street. You believe that genuine party or genuine customer will come to your shop. Imagine a situation, you have legitimate people to come to your shop, but there are some 10-15 people who gather around in front of your shop, preventing the legitimate people to come in. Now what happens? It's almost like shutting the door of your shop. Though your shop is open, though the legitimate users are there, but still something is preventing the legitimate user, the legitimate customer to get into your shop. The same thing happens with the DOS attack. DOS is nothing but denial of service attack. It accomplished by flooding the targeting machine or resource with the superfluous request. Sorry. Distributed DOS, that is When you have more sensitive application, when you have multiple compromised systems, in that case, the attacker will have a distributed DDoS, denial of service, by which one targeted system will be attacked by various IP addresses. That is potentially hundreds of thousands of more. Imagine if you have an exam result website for higher secondary, or railway ticket booking, where for a particular time concurrently you can expect thousands and thousands of users will throng into the website to find the details or to book the ticket. If you have distributed DOS attack, what will happen? Completely you are blocking the network as well as the data. So it cannot distinguish who is the legitimate user as well as who is the attacker. Okay, so that kind of distributed DOS attack is prevalent in mainly targeted the major systems, major organizations where millions of users are there. Okay. Then comes the a type of DDoS attack, what we call it as SMURF, SMURF. It renders almost the computer networks inoperable. It doesn't make the server failure, but it makes the network inoperable. The source IP address, I hope you know what is an IP address. It is a unique address in the network for a given server, okay, where you will have a set of websites hosted. For example, Mahe RA office, Mahe Arts College, Mahe municipality. Like that, if you may, each one of you may have a set of websites, and all these websites may reside on a single server, and that server will have a unique IP address. When there is a SMURF attack, they will attack the IP address of the server. That means what happens? This IP address cannot be accessible. So they will create a significant amount of traffic on the victim's network, resulting in the consumption of the bandwidth and untimely causing the victim's server to crash. Okay. Now, what is the countermeasure? Countermeasure is you have to configure it properly. Actually, there is a earlier people feel that particularly when the master of computer application courses are there, people felt that mathematics students, the people who have the background of mathematics, have more scope on computers. Now the scenario changes, particularly with the trilogy of the latest technologies, where we call it as IoT, Internet of Things, blockchain, and artificial intelligence, which are going to rule the internet with the new trends. In those situations, IoT requires a lot of electronics, programming over the electronics. So physics, particularly physics students or the science students, have a lot of potential in these areas. Okay, so here configuring the individual hosts, configuring the routers not to forward packets direct to broadcast the address. Here you need to configure, means program or make the system in such a way that you have to protect your server from the configuration which can be done from the routers. Okay. Fraggle attacks. The next one what we see is Fraggle attack. It is another DOS. Fraggle attack is exactly the same, but except that it works on a different protocol, what we call it as user datagram protocol. So here the suggestion, the vulnerability assessing the engineers say is, you have to close the unneeded ports. What is a port? What is a port in computer terms? A port, normally we say that sea port, air port. It is because you have that is the landing part where people from seaway get into the land, or people from airway getting into the land. Like that, you have different environment, different technologies. But if you want to get into your server, you require some software ports. We call it as 8080 port, or 447 port. Like that, plenty of ports are there. These ports are software configuration that helps you to lock the programs and make it more and more secure. So the port is mainly have to be configured to protect us from the denial of service attack. Social engineering attack, very common attack which we find in our day-to-day life. It is an art of manipulating the people so that they give up the confidential information. Often nowadays we could see some anonymous calls claiming that they are calling from a particular bank or calling from Aadhaar, calling from municipality, like that, and try to give some trick so that you are giving them the password or bank information or access your computer secretly to install the malicious software. So in this particular attack, you have to be very careful in dealing with such people over the phone or over the emails. Sometimes they may ask you through emails. By clicking a link, you will be redirected. So you have to be very careful with the social engineering. People will try to socialize with you, introduce themselves through social media. They may say that I saw your Facebook, I saw your Twitter, I saw your Instagram. I found that you have a lot of potential for making business. Like that, they will try to utilize the art of manipulation in the social engineering and try to gain maximum advantage over it. Now, what is a countermeasure? Never provide confidential information. For that matter, even non-confidential data and credentials like email, chat messenger, phone, or in person to any unknown suspicious sources. Never do that. Before, and particularly when we are in the new normal in the COVID-19 situation, you may receive a lot of phone calls with respect to your online presence. So you have to be very cautious in sharing the information about you. Okay, unless you really require, don't put your photographs. Don't put your child's photograph. Okay, don't tell them unless if it is necessary. Don't share the photograph. Don't share the email ID. Okay, so have a secured mechanism of sharing the information or accessing the internet. Before clicking on any links provided in email or website, keep an eye on the misspellings. They may have the same design, format, everything, except with a small change in the letters in the spelling, they may redirect you to some other malicious website. Okay, and don't open mails from untrusted sources. Create good awareness among the staff, among the family members about the social engineering. If you get a call, immediately tell your family members about such calls. If you receive a call, inform such things are going around to your colleagues, your staff members to be aware. Okay, and use two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication, we will see this in subsequent presentation. Then comes the spoofing, masquerading attack. Okay, this is something like many TV channels, people make a fun with a prank. Okay, prank as if actor Mammootty calls you, actor Sivakarthikeyan calls you, actor Vijay calls, like that. They will introduce themselves as another person. Okay, and so that people will be thrilled to have such calls by changing their voice. Okay, so these attacks are carried out when someone tries to introduce himself as another person, and this calls spoofing. Basically, this is nothing called changing the person's identity. It's a masquerade attack which uses fake identity in a network. It is mainly intended to gain unauthorized access to the personal computer information through legitimate access identification. So countermeasures, you have to use authentication based on key exchange, and then you have to use an access control list, and then implement filtering both inbound and outbound, and enable encryption session. These are all intended for the people who are managing the servers. Okay, server administrator, database administrator, they have to take such countermeasures. You have to be careful. Then dumpster diving. It is prevalent in many bigger organizations where you are having very confidential data. Because as you know, in many business organizations, competition with the vendor is very much common. In such thing, there are some informers about the quotations, tenders, finance, all these details. So dumpster diving is a kind of attack where people, the hackers may collect the information from trash dustbin. Okay, either in your system dustbin or the physical dustbin, like access code or password or any written down message in your system or sticky notes. I hope you know the sticky notes. So they will collect as much as information which is open available in your system without proper security. So information like a phone list, calendar, organization chart, it all can be used to assist an attacker using social engineering techniques to gain access to the net. In many places, organization chart is given along with the phone number, along with the email ID, along with the name and all, so that people easily gain the access. I know the deputy director who is so and so, he is my friend. Like that, they will introduce as if he is a familiar person to your organization. But how he get that detail, it is based on the web information what you provide on the website. So countermeasure is you have to share personal documents and credit card offers before throwing them away. Okay, and wipe hard drives clean before you get rid of computers or smartphones. Suppose you are not using a computer or a smartphone, clearly format the whole disk and use it. Allow other people to use it. Eavesdropping attack. What is eavesdropping? Eavesdropping, I hope many of you know what you hear over a wall. Okay, so network eavesdropping or network sniffing is an attack. It aims to capture information transmitted over a network by other computer. Sorry. So objective is to acquire a sensitive information like password, session tokens, or any confidential. Competitive intelligence. Competitive intelligence involves use of public sources to develop the data on competition, competitors, and the market environment. And then what they will do is they will have a transform. They will transform into analysis, and that analysis will bring you the data into intelligence. In fact, your artificial intelligence works in the same way. Whatever the data, whatever the output you get, it is built as an analysis to give you a kind of artificial intelligence. It identifies the information that a decision maker needs on the competition or the competitive environment. It collects raw data using legal and ethical means from public sources. They will not steal the data, but they will collect the raw data using legal and ethical means. But after that, they will analyze the data using any one of the tools, converting it to intelligence, and then communicating the finished intelligence to key decision maker for the internal use. I think many movies have come on this intelligence part, how to tackle a competitor. So the countermeasure is there are plenty of such things are given. For example, if you have made a very important place where an organization makes a discussion, where the cameras or microphones are in the ceiling, switch off. Avoid using the cameras. I avoid using the surveillance equipment. It should be turned off. And conducting any or if you are going to invite people, have the surveillance equipment properly checked so that you can keep a track of people who are coming in and going out. And then disrupting the laser frequencies with the static white noise and window coatings to prevent laser listening systems from gathering micro vibrations from the surface of a window to listen on conversation from outside the room. Many people try to oversee or overhear very important meetings. So on such things, they may use laser frequencies. To avoid that, you have to take some preventive measures. Okay. So these are some of the steps, countermeasures for the competitive intelligence, which is another challenge for major organizations. Invasive attacks. Microprobing means attaching the microscopic needles onto the internal wiring of the chip. That nowadays, particularly after IoT is in prevalent. So what they will do is they will have attach the microscopic needles onto the internal wiring, which can be used to read out internal secrets that are not intended to leave the chip, or it can be used for fault attacks. So microprobing with fine electrodes helps the eavesdropping on signal inside the chip. It injects the test signals and observing the reaction, and can be used for extraction of any secret keys and memory contents. Another one is RFID skimming. Nowadays, RFID technology is slowly getting used in all our day-to-day application. Particularly, if you see the toll gate. In toll gate, you have FASTag. FASTag works on the RFID tags. So RFID, with the help of RFID scanners, with the help of RFID, people started using attacks, cyber attacks. So a new breed of digital pickpocket has been discovered nowadays in many shopping centers and stations. It is effortlessly they steal the credit and debit card without so much touching your wallet. Just standing 6 inches away, these criminals use RF identification readers to harvest the bank details in a practice which is known as digital skimming. So the other name is the skimming. It's a new word we call it. We are referring that RFID skimming. So cards can be protected from skimmers by being wrapped in tin foil, or mutual authentication between the tag and the reader. Encryption of the data transfer between tag and the reader. So illegal reader, even if they have data, if it is encrypted properly with the help of mutual authentication, the reader cannot read the encrypted data what we have in the card. And then any software countermeasures that also you can make it. So when we talk about RFID, we have RFID exploits, RFID malicious tags that exploit some part of RFID system, and then it encounters susceptible to hacker attacks, just like conventional computing systems. RFID worm is nothing but RFID worm is that abuses a network connection to achieve self-replication. It may propagate by exploiting online RFID services, but can also spread via RFID tags. RFID virus is also there. An RFID virus is a RFID-based exploit that autonomously self-replicates its code to RFID tags without requiring a network connection. So like our virus, which is predominantly available in all our computer networks, RFID virus is also getting day by day popular, and they try to destroy all our RFID tags when there is no proper countermeasures. So the countermeasures include, you have to sanitize the input, you have to check and disable the unnecessary facilities given in the RFID scanners, and then some code level permissions are also advised to avoid such malware. What is cyber squatting? They call it as cyber squatting or typo squatting, which are aimed at exploiting human inattentiveness. If you are not checking the URL website address properly, though it may look or it may sound like the same website which is common to you. Like for example, www.google.com. It is a very common website address which you see on almost every day. But if you type www.gogle.com, and when somebody wait for such misspelled and try to redirect you a similar user interface, a page, it almost looks like a Google, but it try to land you in a hacker's website. then we will get into a problem. I'm just giving a small example with Google, but if you have ICICI website or Bank of India website, SBI website, where the home page normally is having a standard template of colors and the text. That is why all the major sites frequently they are changing the home page. Okay, particularly bank pages. One of the spelling mistake when you type the URL, it might end you to phishing the website specifically created to steal your login, personal, or bank information. A confusingly similar websites can host untrue information and damage the company's or person's reputation, as well as mislead a potential customer or a service user. So what are the key threats in the cyber squatting? It includes phishing. We'll see phishing in detail. Okay, client malware infection, information stealing, man-in-the-middle attack. All these are all part of your cyber squatting. Here we have a list of countermeasures. Most importantly, you have to be very careful in implementing mandatory use of digital signature and certificates in communication like mail, message, everywhere. So these are the actions which have to be taken on the server part to avoid to identify the trusted website. Okay, and then you have to, when you feel that your website can be replicated or unnecessarily used by a hacker, you have to buy all the similar domains. You can see the point number 6, buy similar domain. That means you should not allow even a misspelled person to an unwanted website. Okay, so you have to buy the similar domain and avoid people to get cheated. And you have to use server socket layer, that is secure socket layer SSL for every public resource of cyber squatting. Nowadays, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology insists for having SSL. It's a secure socket layer in the website to mandatorily use HTTPS website. Okay. So one of the solution practice for years in registering numerous domain names to protect your brand. Suppose you are the brand owner of a very famous company, say www.tata.com. So people can't, they should not misuse Tata with a similar name. So whatever the name, you should buy all those domain names to avoid cheats to use that particular brand. Okay. Now a new things which is coming up, farming, PHARM, farming. What is farming? Farming refers to redirecting the website traffic through hacking, whereby the hacker implement tools that redirect a search to a fake website. Okay. So farming occurs when hackers locate vulnerabilities in DNS server software. Farming can also occur by rearranging the host file on the targeted computer. Often, bank websites as well as e-commerce organizations have become popular farming targets. So desktops are also sometimes vulnerable to farming threats due to their lack of security administration. Now I'm going to get into Bluetooth area. Bluetooth is a very popular technology. It's a wireless technology which is predominantly available on all our smartphones, and that is also part of our cyber attack. Many people easily attack with the help of the Bluetooth technology. There are 3 kinds of attack in the Bluetooth. One is called bluejacking. What is bluejacking? Bluejacking is the process of sending any anonymous message from one Bluetooth enabled phone to another with a particular range without knowing the exact source of the received message of the participant. So these hackers mainly, they will look on the targeted crowded area like shopping malls, airports, where they potentially use high percentage of people with Bluetooth enabled devices. Many people, they never switch off the Bluetooth, they enable the Bluetooth, and without proper password with the enabled Bluetooth, their smartphones are prone to such attacks. So bluejacking is also known as blue hacking. The best way to protect your smartphone is simply turn Bluetooth off and use some firewall. Bluetooth firewall protects your Android device particularly against all such Bluetooth attack. You can also scan your device and detect the apps with the Bluetooth capabilities. And if you have installed a malicious app unknowingly, this is the time to uninstall it. Snuffing. It is a theft of data using a Bluetooth connection. Snuffing means you have to suppose if your smartphone, if a person hacker knows that there are some important documents in your mobile phone, and if your phone is potential to have a valuable document, and with the help of snuffing, they will grab the large document or file and using it without the author's permission. So any device with its Bluetooth connection turned on and set as discoverable, it may be susceptible to snuffing if it is vulnerable with the vendor's software. There are a lot of software which is written mainly to enable the snuffing from one phone and try to grab as much as documents from another phone which is prone to such attack. So the best way again obviously to simply turn the Bluetooth off. A device cannot be hacked via Bluetooth attack vendor if other Bluetooth devices cannot see it. And some devices come with Bluetooth turned on by default. So users have to check, go to your Android, if it is by default enabled on, please switch off. Please switch off the Bluetooth and disable the Bluetooth. And this setting, and if Bluetooth must be enabled, the user can set the device to be hidden instead of making it open. Now comes bugging. Okay, what you have seen earlier is snuffing, jacking. Okay, now there is another term which is coming up, bugging. The third type of hacking mechanism is the bugging. It goes well beyond jacking and snuffing, where the hacker uses sophisticated attacks to gain the control of victim mobile itself. That means your mobile is not in your hand, though it is physically in your hand, it is getting operated by another virtual person who took the complete control on your victim's mobile. So hacker can manipulate the user's phone the way he desires. So again, the suggestion given by the experts are to protect your device, to simply turn the Bluetooth off. Okay, and uninstall any unauthorized apps which try to enable your Bluetooth. Now comes phreaking. After Bluetooth, now let us see what is phreaking. Phreak. Phreaking. It is an old term to describe the activity of gaining access to the corporate telecom infrastructure. This complaint is keep on coming with respect to unauthorized people who uses the legitimate telecom providers like BSNL, Airtel or Vodafone, but they try to make use of their international calls as if it is a local call. Okay, so phreakers explore the telecommunication system for fun or get free long distance service with the help of the phreaking method. So normally phreaking attacks the telecom network. Best solution given to them is they are looking for a combined security management and performance tool to the telecom managers. Data diddling. It is another term. Data diddling it involves alteration of existing data, which is common one. It is one of the easiest type of crimes which makes the people to gain access and accounting control, supervisions, auditing, separation of duties in the form of active attack. It is a kind of active attack. So for countermeasures for this kind of active attacks are disable all the services that are not explicitly required. If you don't require a service, simply disable the service in your system and install the security patches which are required for the application. For example, Microsoft for their Windows, they will release the security patches then and there to make the system more secure. Like that, routers have, like that, mobile phones, Android phones will have, Apple will have. security patches help you to make your system more secure. Okay, and then you install the antivirus and anti-spyware to identify, scan, and delete the malware codes. Okay, salami attack. Salami attack is collecting small amount of data in order to build something a greater value. Okay, and involves an attacker to change the information in the database. First, it will gain the access to the database, and then modify a calculation to round down, and then send the reminder to the attacker's account. So they will, like the previous one, disable all the services not required, install the security patches, and then develop for developer install backdoors, disable them, change the default settings, block access, unnecessary unnecessary access, and then for malicious and user installed backdoors, use access control management and control software deployment. War driving. There are people who search for free Wi-Fi wireless networks, and when they move in a vehicle using a portable computer, smartphone, or PDA. So there are those for how to protect yourself from such war driving war driving attack. Disable the SSID in your smartphone or in your laptops wherever we have Wi-Fi access, and then use strong encryption for your Wi-Fi password. Secure the Wi-Fi with the password. Phishing. Like phishing, we have phishing. So most of the attacks on financial institutions for the past 3 years have not been through brute force attacks, not password attack or firewall application, but it has been through user's password. This technique is called phishing. So phishing awareness, you always check the sender's mail ID. Sender's mail ID looks like from a legitimate sender ID, but with small change in the spellings, they may try to mislead you, like Amazon, okay, like Flipkart. Like that, there are some popular e-commerce sites from where people will try to steal your credit card information or debit card information. Okay, so you have to be very careful. Phishing attack, like phishing, there is also another attack, what we call it as phishing attack. It is exactly similar like phishing. Only thing is voice is also added. So phishing is a criminal act using voice email or voice over internet protocol, or sometimes through your landline or cell phone to gain access to the private or personal and financial information from anyone for the purpose of committing identity theft. Okay, so be suspicious about any anonymous callers, unknown callers, and people should be just as suspicious of phone calls as they are emails asking for personal information. Don't trust the caller ID, even your true caller, just because your caller displays a phone number or name. It doesn't guarantee the call is really coming from the number or company. Ask the question and verify. You try to post some question, ask them. Okay, if you are happy or if you are confident about the reply, do that. Otherwise, avoid any anonymous calls, suspicious calls. Never provide any credit card information or private information to anyone. So that is what the recommended countermeasures what we normally find with respect to phishing. Okay, and then malicious insider threats. It is a security threat that originates from within the organization being attacked or target. In the same organization, there will be an insider threat. Okay, there are two kinds of insider threat. One is deliberate insider. When most people think of an insider threat, they immediately think of the malicious insider. It is someone who deliberately caused harm to an organization. Okay. Accidental insider, I hope you know what is a malicious insider. A person who was the staff of the organization who deliberately try to delete or make harm to the data or the information what you store for the organization. Accidental insider is someone who tricked or manipulated into doing something that untimely harms the organization. So that means he may be an ignorant insider, but he has been tricked or manipulated. So any employee is prone to be a malicious insider threat, either by accidental or deliberate. How to prevent it? So avoid using USB device or personal device, or when you have large amount of data, some proprietary data you have, take enough protective measures to protect the data. Okay. Like server-side attack, we also have client-side attack. What is a client-side attack? It is a desktop-related attack or mobile phone attack. It targeted mainly the client systems. They are directly either normally such attacks happens through browsers and instant messaging applications. You have seen plenty of instant messaging applications like WhatsApp, like like Google Chat, like the plenty of such messaging applications and web browsers which are prone to such attacks. Okay. Privilege escalation. Attackers look for vulnerabilities that they can exploit to gain control over a computer system by compromising the user accounts. Through such initial exploit, slowly the attacker will obtain certain access privileges, and once they get the access privilege from one level, they get into the next. They initially gain from one and then try to get some as much as sensitive information from other accounts and obtain complete administrative control over the system. So it can't happen overnight. They will slowly escalate the privileges they gain. Either it can happen horizontally or vertically. So till they get the complete access. Okay. So and then there is attack. Now they are referring it as banana attack. It involves redirecting the outgoing message from the client back to the client itself, preventing any outside access, as well as flooding the client with the sent packets. It will never allow you to send any data from your system to other server. It again and again it bounces back to the same client. Okay. Now, almost for fast more than 30 minutes, we were talking about damages which are happening with the help of cyber attacks. Now, can you imagine that in this 45 minutes or 30 minutes, already the globe has lost $300 billion daily. That is a shocking news. It is because, as per the 2021 figure, what we find here is, for every second, millions of dollars or billions of dollars in a day happens to be insecured, or they lost, damaged with the help of the cyber crime. So it is becoming almost like hacking is a new normal. What is new normal? Now we are seeing new normal in the COVID-19 situation. Like every day we wear a mask, wherever we go we use sanitizers, and wherever we talk or discuss, we follow the social distancing. It is the new normal. Like that, hacking is the new normal. It's becoming new normal. Your financial information, your personal information are always prone to attack. If you have such things, then we are calling that as hacking is the new normal. There is a sharp increase in the cybercrime happening in India due to various attacks. So you have to be careful when you are using your personal information or try to access any QR code or any website. Okay, how your computer may get infected? Normally your computer get infected because of the malicious links in the mail, or plugging an unknown flash drive, or downloading any unauthorized or any anonymous software. Okay, which is masquerading into other software. So how your mobile phone is getting such malware? Mobile phones are getting threat because users do most of internet browsing on the cell phone. Those smartphone is intended for net access. They have very insecure internet browsing over the cell phone that causes mobile phone malware. Screen locking malware, ransomware are very popular threat in the mobile devices. Even Apple iOS is also prone to such attacks. Users depend on the company to fix any vulnerabilities. So how you get infected? Again, by email, by masqueraded software, installing third-party apps directly from the internet instead of official Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Many people try to download some app other than the Google Play and Apple App Store. Now we want to stress you how to protect your mobile phone as well as computer with the two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is a great way to protect your email from being compromised, particularly important for email. That is why recently, for the past 1 week, Mr. Najib and Mr. Rajesh would have told you about the two-factor authentication introduced in all the government emails. Okay, we have introduced the two-factor authentication. One is the user ID password, another is the OTP, or one is the user ID password, another one is the Kavach. That is what introduced. Okay, so one user ID password may not be sufficient so that people can easily attack. In addition to that, you are introducing one more authentication, either through OTP or through some Kavach authentication. Okay. Time is short, I'm just rushing. What is the drive-by load? It is the drive-by load is attacks your entire hard disk when vulnerable computers get infected by visiting a website. So in the latest Microsoft Security Intelligence report, it was told that previous volumes revealed that drive-by exploits have become the topmost web security threat to worry about. Even advertisements have malware. Well, they may have a wrong link, or intentionally people will get infected with the help of such links. So safer measures have to be taken. Safe computing is use password that you can't be easily guessed or protect your password. Don't use test123, ABCD123 like that. Use some strong password with a combination of characters, number, special characters. And minimize storage of sensitive information. Avoid storing sensitive information totally on your net. You have some backup, or you should have some proper method to store the sensitive data within your institution. Beware of scams. Never reveal of your password, unknown link, anyone. Be careful when you share your private information. Protect the information when you use the internet and email. Make sure a lot of settings are there. Just if you go to the internet browser settings, privacy, there is a separate option, privacy. There you can escalate the privacy concern so that you can protect your browsers from unwanted cookies and unwanted links. Make sure your computer is protected with antivirus. Antivirus is very much important. It has to get properly updated in your system. Secure your laptop and mobile devices at all times. Lock them when you go out from your workplace, okay, and put some strong password. Otherwise, you carry your laptop or mobile phone with you wherever you go. Shut down, lock, log off, or put your computer and other devices to sleep before leaving them unattended, and make sure they require a secure password to start up a backup. Okay. Don't install or download any unsolicited programs to your computer, phone, or other devices. So it is equally important to secure your home network, because nowadays in your home, you are installing CCTV, you are installing Wi-Fi, you are installing, nowadays IoT-based devices are going to come, like IoT-based TV, IoT-devised washing machine, IoT-based devices are slowly going to occupy in your work, not only at office, at your home. So security is required wherever you need to protect your data as well as your people. So general tips we are giving about the password safety, search engine safety, insider threats safety, and then secure websites. These are the 4 things which are required to safeguard ourselves at home as well as at office. Passwords, search engine, insider threats, and secure website access. These are the 4 areas. Okay. Most important tips are unique password. You should have a unique password. Okay. Nobody could even guess the password. And then enable with the 2-factor authentication. Like that, if you take search engine safety, be careful when clicking any non-name recognizable websites, or malware commonly masquerades as free things. And then in the insider threats, increase the employee awareness to cyber criminal tactics. Implement a data use policy for what employees may or may not do. Very important. And then for secure website, before entering sensitive information, check if the site is secured by HTTPS. Okay, HTTPS. Now, I'm broadly summarizing how to secure your computer. Securing with the password, securing with the antivirus, and no phishing. Carefully check the email text what you are using, and then two-factor authentication. Build proper firewall, and then wherever we have cryptography, to encryption technique is used. It is more secure. Okay, and use regular updates for your computers as well as your mobile. Now comes the, I'm just giving a few tips about the unified payment interface. Many people are using Google Pay, Paytm, okay, so Phone Pay, like that. So these are all commonly called as unified payment interface. So there you have to be very careful when you don't share your MPIN with anybody, and be suspicious of any unknown callers claiming to be your bank from your bank. Use biometric authentication if possible, and update your mobile operating system and application as often as possible to be secured from such vulnerabilities. It is advisable to enable encryption antivirus software on the phone, and keep your this is a very important point, keep your SIM card locked with a PIN to avoid misuse. In case if you lost your phone and if your SIM card cannot be used, so for that purpose, you keep your SIM card locked. You can contact your subscriber to block the subscription of the SIM card immediately. Avoid connecting the phones to unsecured wireless networks that do not need passwords to access. Best practices when people start using Bharat interface for money, BIM. BIM interface will provide you to have payment through mobile phones. Steps you have to provide, you have to take enough care to protect yourself from financial fraud. In fact, BIM is also giving a secured method to have your payment. Check the payment collect request details with the merchant before making the payment, and be sure to keep UPI-based apps updated. Make sure you transfer money only to the known beneficiaries, not to the unknown. Like that, you have to protect your debit card and credit card usage. Don't share your card information over the phone to anyone. Don't give the PIN number. Okay, and if any anonymous caller who is trying to get the details from a telephone call, okay, you can always call back to the bank and publicly display numbers for verifying it. Like that, maintain your database desktop system, computer system in your college or in your home secured by having antivirus software and legitimate software, okay, to avoid any vulnerability. Internet security. To follow internet security ethics before while browsing, check the copyright issue before using the content of the internet. Always access a site which uses HTTPS while performing online transactions, downloads which are secure. If the site uses SSL, secured socket layer, verify the certificate details like who is the owner, when is the expiry date and all. And then you can do this by clicking the lock icon. You can find it in the right bottom. Use only original websites for downloading the files rather than third-party websites. Many people are using free downloads or free storage kind of thing. It is very, very much insecure. Okay, avoid such things. Rather, you can use your Google Drive for that. Scan the downloaded file with an updated antivirus software before using it, and install and properly configure a software firewall to protect against such malicious traffic. As I already said, more than petrol, more than gold. Nowadays, people are talking on the valuable data. So, data have to be protected not only from the server end, also at your end. So, download antivirus software and install. Make sure it automatically gets updated with the latest virus signature. Download anti-spyware software from a trusted website and install. Use encryption to secure your valuable information. Use strong password in your computers for admin account as well as the normal user. Have frequent and periodical backup on all your valuable data. Like that, in the browser, have web browser with the latest patches and use privacy and security settings which are commonly found in your browsers. Email security equally important. Always use strong password for your email account and frequently change the password. Always use anti-spyware software to scan the emails. And it goes to wireless security, modem security also. Spam protection is very much important. Spam is nothing but unsolicited emails. What you get, never open such spam emails, never respond to spam emails. Be careful using your email address. So, equally, Govt is also working on the various acts and measures for booking the infiltrators as well as the attackers with various acts. But it is our duty to protect ourselves. There are acts on these for the misuse of social media or OTT platform or digital news. Okay. Now they are going to even make it more and more tight so that people cannot just spread or make it viral with the help of various social media platforms. Okay. Only authenticated or verified information have to be sent. Okay. CERT-IN, it is a very important organization around the world. Sorry, CERT is the important organization. CERT-IN is the Indian organization of the CERT. CERT is nothing but Computer Emergency Response Team. It was established in 2004 and periodically they collect, analyze, disseminate information on site. You can visit the site certin.org.in where they have the complete list of IT auditors who can make VAPT. VAPT is nothing but vulnerability assessment. Okay, test. They will. You get various emergency measures for handling cyber security incidents and coordination of cyber incident response activities. It issues guidelines, advisories, vulnerability notes with respect to security practices. Okay. Govt is working on national cyber security strategy. In fact, yesterday, our Honorable Home Minister was talking and mentioning about one important thing he was making. Suppose we want to realize the dream of $5 trillion economy. You can see it in the headlines of our today's paper. Cyber security is the key to achieve it. So, for the country's progress, cyber security is also getting more and more important. Nowadays, cyber insurance is also getting important because some of the organizations, they lose very important data, major loss because in the due to hacking and ransom or such things. Nowadays, people are insuring their data. Cyber insurance is getting more and more popular. Okay, and there is a National Cyber Coordination Center. It's a multi-stakeholder security and surveillance agency. Okay, Switch Kendra, like Switch, Cyber Switch Kendra, Botnet Cleaning and Malware Analysis Center is a part of Govt of India's Digital India initiative. Their aim is to create a secure cyberspace by detecting botnet information in India and notify cleaning and securing systems of end users. In fact, in spite of all this, sometimes government websites are also getting hacked. That is why government insists on the mandatory auditing part. Auditing, though it may be a time-consuming thing, but auditing the websites, auditing the web application, auditing the server is now made mandatory in order to declare a site as a secured one. Okay, these are some of the news clippings you find nowadays. Today in Puducherry, one group has been arrested after committing the cyber frauds in the ATMs. They were arrested. What you see here is an interesting thing. There are various, in those days, we were very familiar with the programmer analyst, like that. But there are some new, positions coming up in various organizations. Particularly, they are aiming on the security part. Okay, see, can you see one designation as security specialist, incident responder, security administrator, vulnerability assessor, cryptographer, security manager, security architect, chief information security officer. Like that, we have plenty of security based designations. It involves specialists who are mainly intended for the cyber security part. So where are the courses? What are the degrees and certifications we get via? Whether any only computer science are eligible for it? Such questions may arise from our mind. In fact, these are some of the recommended courses: BTech, BE on cybersecurity, Diploma in Computers, MTech, MSc, MBA, PhD, cybersecurity. Okay, so these are all cybersecurity recommended courses of that for getting qualified or people preferred in such security related positions. Okay, so nowadays courses are mainly aimed on targeting the security part of it. Earlier, we never had this kind of specialized courses and programs, degree programs, master degree programs on cyber security. Nowadays, cyber security plays such an important role because every organization, every country, every state, every organization, and every person have their cyber presence. In that situation, you require security as a major part of it. That is why it is getting more and more important. Okay, since these are all some of the courses offered by various institutions to get certifications on specific area. For example, certified ethical hacker, certified network defender, certified license penetration tester. Like that, people will get the certification on completion of certain courses on Master of Science in Cyber Security, Bachelor of Science in Cyber Security, etc. Okay, you can see a host of various certification with respect to wireless area, security area, service area, like that, data center area, like that. Okay, and then Cisco, the company which is very popular, reputed concern for network routers, devices for the security, they also have certain carrier certification programs. Okay, so this is the cyber security carrier pathway recommendation. Normally, we suggest it depending on the experience and existing certification of course study, you will be placed on various locations. Okay, it is an evolving area, continuously evolving area, and it is also getting more and more important on various domains, not only in the banks and financial institution, also in the healthcare, also on the transport. Okay, like that, in plenty of such places, it is getting more and more popular. Okay, now a new university has come up, National Forensic Sciences. So cyber security have a flying career area where you can get specialized on various areas: networking, software development, system engineering, financial and risking analysis, security intelligence. Everywhere you require a cyber security specialist. So before I end up, I just make one appeal: cyber security is not only the responsibility of the engineers or the institution, it is everyone's responsibility. Okay, and before I conclude, I believe that this, though it is a through presentation of so many details, it helps you to make you aware. It tries to sensitize what is happening around with respect to the cyber attacks. And I conclude by making my sincere thanks for the opportunity to the respected principal and staff members of Mahatma Gandhi Arts College. Especially, I want to make my